Recording. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our second last nutrition session, I believe. Perfect.
Mhm.
So, if you don't want to be recorded, make sure you turn your camera off, please. And with that, we will get going. I'll let Rihanna take it away.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to see everybody again. Someone mentioned the Jets game, and I stayed up for half of it, and then I went to bed because it went really late. But that's super exciting that they're going on to the next round. So, yay, go Winnipeg. Okay, so tonight we are going to be talking about pre workout nutrition. So, we are going to cover after workout nutrition, so post workout nutrition and repair and recovery next chat. So today we're just focusing on eating and what you eat before a workout. So I'm going to share my screen right away, but if you have any questions, put them in the chat, and then we'll have some time for questions afterwards as well. So I'm just going to go through the presentation and then we'll chat afterwards for a few minutes. Okay. So let's get my screen pulled up here. Alrighty. There we go. Okay, awesome. So, like I said, we're covering pre workout nutrition and how to fuel to feel your best. Okay, so here's what we're going to cover. We're going to be talking about why we want to fuel before a workout. And when I say workout, I mean like exercising, training, practicing, and competing in any sort of activity. And we're going to also cover what to eat and when to eat before a workout and some extra special considerations. And today I've just kind of sprinkled in some questions throughout the presentation. So I'll end up giving you guys like a minute to think about the answer when the question comes up. And then I'll just go to the next slide and the answer will be on the next slide. And then if you have questions about it or want me to cover it a bit more, we can chat about it afterwards too. Okay, so let's start with a question. So, true or false? And you can put this in the chat if you want, or you can just keep your answer to yourself and just think about it. But true or false? You should work out on an empty stomach. Okay, so just give you a second, see what you think. So, the answer is false. Your body needs food to work optimally and to help you perform at your best. So that's what we're going to be chatting about today. I feel like that was a bit of a trick question, but I'll explain more about it as we go through the slides. Okay, so eating something before a workout matters, and here's why. So think of your body like an engine and food as your fuel. To be able to run efficiently, you need to fuel that engine, which means eat food. And during a workout or an activity, that engine is running at higher levels than normal. So naturally, we're going to need more fuel to help it keep running properly. So if we skip food before a workout, or just like in life in general, our body will use up whatever energy is available first, but that runs out pretty quickly. So then it tends to take the reserves from our muscles, which can mean that our muscle mass is depleted. That is generally not what we want when we work out, especially if you work out to build your muscles. So, fueling properly can help prevent that and help counter that by helping you build muscles instead of breaking them down. And as athletes, and just like in general for anyone who works out, it's hard to give it all like your 100% effort when you're hungry. And often when we're hungry, even before we feel like that stomach grumbling, our energy levels tend to go down and we become more tired. So this sucks on regular days, but imagine trying to push through like a 30-minute workout or the end of your run when your energy is like totally depleted. This doesn't make for a super enjoyable workout, and you likely won't be performing at your best either. And lastly, and this is important for anyone, and especially those with blood sugar difficulties, but anyone can get a blood sugar low, and eating properly can help prevent that during an activity. So when we work out, our body uses up more of the sugar in our blood, which is called glucose, and it uses it up a lot more quickly when we're working out. So when we eat before a workout, This gives our blood sugars a boost so that our body can use that available blood sugar to fuel us and to help us perform at our best. So you will be more at risk if it's like hot or humid out. And of course, if you have a condition that affects your blood sugars or if you're using insulin, you'll be at a bit higher risk for getting a blood sugar low, but eating and fueling properly before a workout can help prevent that. So then, let's chat a bit more about what exactly to eat before a workout. All right, so we're going to want to pay special attention to carbs. Carbs are the fuel that your brain and your body actually prefers to use. And we have talked about carbs, but I'll give you a reminder. So your muscle and liver use carbs to build up stores of energy that your body can use during an activity. And this is usable energy that your body needs. So you'll want to include a majority of your pre-workout snack will probably be carbs so that you get that energy. And so you're also going to want to include a little bit of protein with that little snack or that meal before you work out, as this can help with muscle repair afterwards. But we just want to include like a little bit or a moderate amount of protein depending on when you eat, because some people find it doesn't sit as well in their stomach as carbs do. And we generally just want to limit fat in our snacks and meals before a workout. Fat tends to slow down digestion and can cause some gut discomfort if we eat too much right before a workout. Okay, so I got another question for you guys, so you can just think about this or write it down if you want or put it in the chat. But which of these foods is not a carb? So it looks like we have blueberries, then peanuts, and pasta and bagels. So which one is not a carbohydrate? I'll give you just a second to think about that or put it in the chat. All right, so the answer is peanuts. So they are not a carb. They are actually a source of protein. So we have blueberries, which is a fruit, and pasta and bagels are all sources of carbohydrates. All right. So here's a couple considerations for when deciding what you might choose to eat. So first, if you're eating shortly before a workout, so say like maybe 30 minutes or maybe even up to like an hour before a workout, you'll want to choose a food that's a bit lower in fiber, as fiber digests slower and can cause some stomach discomfort if you eat it too close to an activity. So foods that are higher in fiber might be like vegetables, especially raw vegetables, maybe like bran cereal or all bran, some raw fruits, and things like beans or lentils. That doesn't mean that these foods won't work for you. So this is just like a guide to sort of help you feel what might work best for you. So, but generally fiber doesn't sit super well in the stomach when you want to go do an intense workout right afterwards. And again, we don't want to forget about hydration. So remember when we talked about that a little while ago at our very first session together? Hydration is very important for your pre-workout nutrition strategy. So remember to hydrate sort of all day leading up to your workout, and you might then taper it off or drink a little bit less in like the hour or two right before your event or right before your workout. And then you might just sip on water during your workout. All right, so then when to eat. Before a workout, there's a few things that will help determine when you're going to eat. There isn't really a golden rule because it totally depends on what works for you and helps make you feel your best and what works for your schedule, of course. So I would encourage you to try out different strategies, and you might even need different strategies for different activities. So, like for myself, if I'm doing yoga, I prefer to eat like 2 to 3 hours before I do it. But if I'm doing like a spin class, I need to have something to eat like 30 to 45 minutes before. So pay attention to what sits in your stomach best and what gives you enough energy or power to make it through your workout. Okay, so for example, if you do prefer to eat, say like 2 or more hours before a workout, or if that's like what your schedule allows for, you will need a slightly larger snack or maybe even like a medium meal. And this snack or meal can be balanced with complex carbohydrates, which are just like higher fiber carbs, and maybe some protein and maybe just like a little bit of fat. But if you prefer to eat, say, like an hour or so before the workout, you might go for something a little bit smaller, like a medium snack, and it might be mostly made up of carbs with just like a little bit of protein. And if you need to eat like right before a workout, or if that's like all that your schedule allows for, so maybe like 30 minutes or less before a workout, you'll likely want something small and it's probably going to be mainly carbs. So maybe like, and you might include a tiny, like a little bit of protein, but it'll be mostly carbs. Just so you pick something that sits well in your stomach. In this case, you could go for solid food like a granola bar or crackers, or you might choose a liquid form like a smoothie or a chocolate milk or juice or something like that. Right. So, and I got a couple examples for you of the types of foods that you could match with the activity, and I give you an example of the time of day that you might end up eating them. So the first one is someone going for like an 8 kilometer run at 8 in the morning. So this might take them like 45 minutes to an hour or so. So it's pretty fast paced. And so for a morning workout, the food you eat at night will be super important. So this person will want to have a decent sized, balanced supper meal the night before with maybe a little bit of extra carbs included in that meal. And they'll probably also want to have a snack before bed that might include carbs and some protein to help build up their energy stores. And then the morning of the run, they are, if they're able, if they're able to get up, sort of like closer to 2 hours before, even 1.5 hours before. So if they're able to get up at like 6 or 6:30 in the morning, they're gonna be able to fit in maybe a small breakfast of easily digestible foods. So that might be like a low fiber cereal and a low fat yogurt or something like that. And they'll definitely also want to include some water. Um, and another option would be like dry cereal with a little cup of juice or something like that. If they struggle with getting out of bed before 7:30, so if you're not a morning person but you need to go for a run in the morning, so if you're getting up at like 7:30 in the morning or right before your run, you're probably just going to want to have some water and something small that just has carbs in it. So like crackers or just some dry cereal right before going for your run. So something is better than nothing. And carbs will be your best bet if you don't have much time before your workout. Second example on the other side of the page is someone maybe doing like a weightlifting session at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it'll take them about 30 minutes to do, and it's maybe a bit lighter intensity, so it's not quite as intense. So, since this workout isn't until 4 p.m., they can just have like a regular breakfast and lunch and stay hydrated during the day. Then, maybe 1 to 2 hours before their workout, they might have like a medium snack of carbs and protein. So, something like cheese and crackers and fruit. Or they could potentially have a small snack about like 30 minutes before if they prefer to eat a bit closer to their workout. So, something like fruit and milk would be an example, milk or chocolate milk. All right. And if you are hoping for a few more examples of foods to eat right before a workout, I got you. So, if you have less than an hour before your workout, so right before a workout, you kind of need to eat, or you don't have much time to eat before your workout, you're going to want to stick to something that sits well in your stomach and focus on carbs. So, some examples that I listed here are cereal and milk, or maybe like an apple and a little bit of peanut butter, or a granola bar or protein bar, or like a small smoothie. So, those would be great examples of something that are quick, easily digestible, and might sit in your stomach fairly well. Um, but if you do have a little bit more time, so say like 1 to 2 hours before a workout, you could probably have something a little bit bigger and still have more carbs, but you can have a little bit more protein if you want. So an example like might be some granola with yogurt and fruit, or like eggs and toast with some jam, or like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or like trail mix. And if you're going to have a trail mix, I would just do more dried fruit because that's going to be your carb versus the nuts, which are going to be your protein. And you might throw some extra carbs in there, like crackers or popcorn or something. And then if you have lots of time before your workout, you could potentially have like a whole balanced meal, 2 to 3, up to maybe like 4 hours before, or like a big snack or at around that 2 hour mark. You could definitely include carbs, some lean protein, and some vegetables, and a small amount of fat, just like some margarine or butter or something, just to round out that meal. And then it's like a whole meal. And one final reminder to not forget to hydrate, and also a reminder to not try anything brand new right before a really big intense workout or right before a competition. So play around with different foods and the timing of foods when you're just doing like a regular workout or just like a training session or just a practice, and don't save any experimenting for right before you compete. So like if you're training for like a half marathon, let's say, try out different strategies when you're just going for like a casual 5 kilometer run that's part of your training sessions versus waiting to try a brand new meal right before you run the half marathon on the day of your event. Because we want to make sure that the things that we choose sit well in our stomach and don't cause any like discomfort or don't cause any like excessive gas or bloating or anything like that. So we want to get all of that experimenting out of the way before we do our like competition or right before we do an important workout. All right, so a couple more considerations. So you're gonna want to pay attention to how long your workout is going to be. The longer you work out, the more fuel you're going to need. And so the more strategic you'll need to be with your pre-workout nutrition strategy. And also, this will change depending on the type of workout that you do. You'll likely need different amounts of fuel, and you'll likely want to time your pre workout snacks differently depending on the activity. So, like, for example, if you're doing a cardio workout, you might need more carbs and might not be able to eat right before your workout. But for a slow strength training workout, you might want carbs and protein, and you could maybe eat it, kind of right before you work out. And like for yoga, you might not need a ton of fuel and you might just want to make sure it's been at least a couple hours before you've eaten. Again, this will totally depend on what works for you, but those are just some examples. And lastly, the intensity of the workout will determine how much fuel you're going to need as well. So if you're just doing like a casual, fun workout, you honestly might not need to pay as much attention to your pre workout snack. You also want to make sure that you've had some food during the day at some point for sure. But if you're going for like a really long run or a long bike ride, or it's a really intense training day or a competition day, you're likely going to want to pay more attention to your pre workout nutrition and make sure that you're fueling your body properly in a way that feels good for you. All right, so let's end this chat with one final true or false question. So, true or false? Someone running a half marathon will need more carbs or fuel than someone doing a 30-minute yoga session. So is it true or false? Just give you a minute. If you want to put it in the chat, go ahead. Or if you just want to write it down for your own knowledge. One more minute. Okay, so that is true. The answer is true because, like we said, a half marathon can take up to like a couple of hours or maybe more to complete. So we're considering the length of our workout, and the yoga was only about 30 minutes, so the half marathon's a lot longer. And running depletes your energy stores a little bit quicker than yoga. So in that case, we're then considering the intensity and the type of workout. So see how we made all those considerations, and then we put it together to decide that, yeah, we're probably going to need a bit more fuel if we're doing this activity versus this activity. All right. I think that is the end of my slide. Okay.